I know you guys have been standing in the sun for a while here. Well, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. We are here because the city is resetting some of the expectations for safety and health spaces. And I just want to acknowledge the people behind me. We've got members of our Spokane Police Department. Some of them will be speaking. Councilmember Michael Cathcart, and then some business owners, Spokane Club members, DSP Emily Cameron from the Downtown Spokane Partnership, Christine Quinn from West Hills Neighborhood, Jake is a business owner, Doug is a business owner, Captain Meidl. They're all very, very invested in what goes on downtown. So I've been meeting and have throughout my term, but most recently with some of the downtown businesses and their employees on the environment downtown, and other businesses who host regularly guests downtown. And they're very concerned and they're very frustrated about what they see on the street. And what they see on the street is open drug deals, drug use, and the devastating impacts of addiction. Fentanyl foils, feces, tons and tons of garbage. And they see the result of failed policy. We understand their frustrations, we understand their concerns, and we too have had enough. Chief Meidl and I and many other members of our community have worked extremely hard over the past year plus to add back accountability alongside the resources that we offer to give people hope, but also some tougher guardrails. These actions include working with our city council last summer to expand the city's camping ordinance, working with the council earlier this summer to make drug use illegal in public spaces, collaborating with 27 other mayors from across the state of Washington to support the legislature in making drug possession illegal once again, opening the Trent Resource and Assistance Center last fall to provide emergency night-by-night shelter space to give people a place to get out of the elements and connection to the type of life-saving services that they need and at the time that they need that. Changing our police model last year to put more officers in our neighborhoods, doubling the number of officers who work out of the downtown police precinct, establishing a violent crimes task force to address the most prolific and dangerous offenders in our community and to keep them out of our neighborhoods longer, and expanding the days and hours of our homeless outreach team to help and clean up litter now 7 days a week. Each one of these actions is important, and they're part of an intentional plan to add back accountability alongside those resources. So I want to be very clear about what we're talking about today. For those who simply are at a low moment in their lives and they need a hand up, we have services to help them move forward. Today, we're talking about those who have adopted a lawless lifestyle, who prey on those who are at their lowest moment and victimize our community by committing crimes and dumping drugs on our streets. That's the focus of our efforts. That's the mission of the Spokane Police Department as we send a message to those who are creating destruction on our streets. We have zero tolerance for these activities. Now, while the mission is concentrated in this area, we will not lose sight of the rest of downtown. Our message of no tolerance for these behaviors is for everyone and every neighborhood throughout our city. And we're seeing a difference. Downtown crime is down nearly 12% overall year to date. Property crime is down 17%. And theft down more than 20%. Vehicle theft down more than 16%. Those are some of the biggest drivers. Resetting community expectations for safe and healthy spaces takes time, and it takes a continued effort. So the city will continue to devote a variety of resources toward addressing these issues, but we must continue the very important and meaningful conversation with our criminal justice partners to promote principles that lead to long-lasting change, such as accountability for those who choose criminal behavior and opportunity for those with the will to better their life. Just on Monday of this week, my office partnered with several downtown businesses and their employees to clean up litter in this area and graffiti in this area. As a downtown community, we came together. There is still much more to do. I'm going to ask our Police Chief Craig Meidl, to come up now and join me, and he's going to look at talk about the overall approach that we're taking in this area, and then the Downtown Police Captain Steve Wool is going to give you some of the results that we've seen so far.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mayor. Is this too distracting? Do you want us to wait for this or just move forward? Yeah. Okay, we'll just continue then. So about a week ago, SPD implemented a mission around the 2nd and Division area in the surrounding blocks as well, to focus on the blight and lawlessness that is occurring in this area. As we all know, this area is an important gateway to the city of Spokane, and for many, the first impression that they have of the city of Spokane. And what we have seen here lately is not an impression that we want visitors to have of Spokane. For over the past week, we have dedicated officers from the Downtown Precinct, the Violent Crimes Task Force, the Special Investigations Unit, the Homeless Outreach Team, Spokane Police Department's TAC team, and the Regional Task Force to focus on the area around 2nd and Division. Shootings, other crimes of violence, drug use and drug dealing, human trafficking and prostitution, theft, trespassing, malicious mischief, littering, all have created an environment in the core of our downtown area that is intolerable. The Spokane Police Department has seen successes when we dedicate adequate resources to high crime problem areas, and we are determined to make this area another success story. We are utilizing all of those units that I mentioned earlier, but the demands require that we also have officers out here on overtime. Our experience has been that as soon as we leave an area or a segment of a block, those committing crimes return very, very quickly. I have directed our officers to have zero tolerance for those who are breaking the law in this area. So far, out of all of those folks that we have contacted down here, absolutely none of them have wanted any resources or assistance. We have had hurdles with jail capacity and the inability to book many of those people down here that are breaking the law or have warrants. Those that we cannot book into jail are being issued citations to appear in court for their criminal charges. Nearly half of those that we have contacted or arrested have had warrants down here. Just in 1 week alone, we have arrested or contacted those congregating down here for possession of drugs, trespassing, warrants, sit and lie violations, possession of a firearm, order of protection violations, and many, many other crimes. In just 1 day of a focused emphasis in this area downtown, our officers made over 50 contacts. In that 1 day, they seized a firearm on a drug contact. Our officers were forced to let go about 25 individuals that had warrants because of the jail capacity. These warrants ranged from misdemeanors to felony warrants. They were unable to be booked because of the jail status. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to Captain Wool. Captain Wool is the Downtown Precinct. Captain, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. So, as previously stated by Mayor Woodward and Chief Meidl, it's imperative that our downtown core is safe for everybody to enjoy. We have identified particular areas that need that resources, and a lot of our law enforcement partners have assisted us. Both the Spokane County Sheriff's Office and our federal agencies have joined us in this mission. The enforcement actions that we have taken, they have brought results. Thanks to the support from Captain Meidl and Lieutenant Booth, standing behind me, who work out of the investigative units, they have poured resources to assist us, the Downtown Precinct, in this mission, along with the TAC team that Chief Meidl talked about, who also on the weekends comes out with a large amount of people on overtime to help keep this area clean and safe for everybody. In the last week alone, we have made hundreds of contacts, 60 plus arrests. With those arrests comes guns off the street. We have confiscated guns, large amount of fentanyl pills, and we've identified people who are actively participating in human trafficking. These are things that we cannot let occur in our area. So with that, our sustainability. We know this takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of money. So we are throwing resources at this problem. We are bringing officers in on overtime. We are reallocating resources from other areas and assisting them when we can. We are bringing our behavioral health unit down here to support those that need it. Like Chief Meidl talked about, we provide opportunities for people to get help. Unfortunately, not many people take it. We are hoping that between all these efforts that we're putting forth, that we're going to have an area that is safe for everybody to enjoy. So you can come down here and work in peace, you can walk through this area, and you can come down on the weekend and enjoy what that Spokane has to offer. Our goals are to accomplish this through reallocating resources and keeping officers down here in this core all the time so that people feel safe. I will now turn it over to Mayor Woodward for follow-up questions.
Yeah, so this is your time to ask questions of any one of us here.
Yeah, there's a couple different variables. The question is what does it look like when we're having challenges actually booking people into jail? There are times where our officers are waiting in line at the jail celly port to bring people into the booking area. For one reason or another, the jail will go on what we call red light status, which means they are not accepting any new bookings at all. And that red light status can range anywhere from a half hour to over 4 hours, sometimes even longer. So what we have realized is that there are times where we just have to issue them a citation or let them go. We can't have, when I use the example of one night of emphasis down here where we contacted almost half of the individuals that had warrants, we can't have 10 officers sitting at the jail for 4 hours waiting to book someone into jail on a warrant. It's unfortunate, but the reality is then we're having to take those 10 officers off the street to allow them to be booked into the jail. So we let them know they have a warrant. If they have other charges, then we will issue them a citation with a promise to appear in court within 2 weeks. But that's really the only other recourse we have when jail goes on red light status. And it does seem to be happening more and more frequently as well.
I also have a question for Chief Meidl here. With having this increased enforcement, especially in this area down here, I talked to small business owners today, some of them saying that they have noticed a difference down here. Is this a long-term thing that you guys are expecting to have down here until the problem is resolved, or what can people expect as far as the longevity of this?
Yeah, that is a great question. So it's like the mayor said, we need to reset expectations. We are down here indefinitely until those expectations have been reset. It is one of those things that we realize this one area, being in the core of downtown, has such an impact on the entire downtown, not just this area, all of downtown, and even going into neighborhoods as well. So we are down here for the long haul. Yeah, so I will speak to the law enforcement portion, let the mayor speak to the portion about encouraging businesses to stay and actually come back here. So I think what you're seeing is what we've just explained here today. It's a message we're sending to those that are coming down here to commit lawlessness, to victimize other people. And that's why we're having zero tolerance. It's our experience every single day is those folks who are living on the street, in and of themselves, they're not creating issues just because they're living on the streets. But we also know there is a significant portion of them that are involved in drug use, drug dealing, crimes of violence, crimes of opportunity, theft, malicious mischief, and a whole gamut of other crimes. So what we've realized after several years of the downtown precinct focused on offering them services and resources is that the overwhelming majority of them are not interested. And so if they're not interested, we have an obligation to the community to make sure that we're doing what we can to enforce the laws ethically, morally, and fairly. But that's what we're going to do. And we're going to have a zero tolerance policy on folks that are down here breaking those laws to send that message to them. You can't break the law down here anymore. So that's what we're doing to encourage a safer downtown area. In terms of your second portion of your question of what is the city doing to encourage folks to stay or come down here, I'd let the mayor answer that.
Well, and thanks for that question. Great question. And, the experiences that you just shared, I hear from businesses all the time. I'm down here. I work downtown. So I share those frustrations and those concerns. This area in particular has been a trouble spot for quite a while. I would say probably 8-10 years. But we've seen an uptick in the type of activity that we're trying to discourage. And so that's why we decided to come back here and do an emphasis and to reset, as you've heard over and over again, expectations, because that's what we have to do. Even if we cannot arrest people who have committed a crime and there's no room in the jail, they have to know that there is a consequence for what they're doing. They will be charged. They will be booked. And if there's room in the jail, they'll go in the jail. If there's not, they will continue to get charged and booked, because we have to reset that expectation. The fundamental responsibility of government is public safety. And I'm just going to tell you, as a city, if we don't have a safe downtown, we don't have anything. We don't have a city. The downtown is our economic region, not just for our city, our economic engine, I should say, not just for our city, but the entire region. What impacts our downtown impacts, and our city impacts the region. So there's a lot at stake here. Now, there are some people who will tell you downtown is not unique. Downtown is unique. This is where the majority of the businesses are located. This is where the city gets its revenue to be able to provide the programs and the services that the community expects us to do. And we need a safe and clean downtown. And the chief and I, for the last 2 years, we've been trying to get the tools back for our police officers that were taken during the 2021 legislature, where a lot of police reform measures were passed, and get those tools back and recriminalize drugs. Make crime illegal again is what it's about. Make crime illegal again. I mean, we are now the #1 state in the nation for the increase in overdose deaths. #1 according to the CDC, after 2 years of decriminalizing drugs.
Man, there's a lot of homeless people that do commit these crimes. Recently, was the city involved in the decision to close down the Wall Street apartments at all? And what are you going to do to help those people that get evicted?
Well, we are helping those individuals get evicted. It's not just evicted. We're shutting down the apartment building because it was squalor conditions. I mean, we have some bad landlords in this city. We need to go after the bad landlords. If you saw pictures of what the conditions that they were living in, absolutely unsuitable for anybody to be living in those conditions. And we have a lot of service providers that are working with the residents of that apartment building to make sure that they have another place to go. But we're not leaving people on the streets. We will find places, safe places for them to live, because everyone deserves to have a safe place to live.
Mayor, has there been some collaboration with House and Charities with compassionate addiction treatment on some of the challenges that you're working through now in the bill?
Well, we just recently had a meeting with Catholic Charities. In fact, they came to us asking for help because of the environment downtown, around their havens, around the House of Charity. And they asked us for help. So that's why we've created this emphasis, this task force, so to speak, and because they don't want this either.
Mayor, following up on that question as well, I know that there's been conversations in the last couple of years about moving House of Charities out of this area down here.
Yeah.
I know that there's been a lot of reasons why that hasn't been able to happen quite yet. I guess my question is, do you think that if that was able to get moved on the timeline we originally expected, would this still be an issue down there?
Oh, we would still have issues. I mean, We are still working with Catholic Charities to find a location to move House of Charity out. They understand that having a night-by-night emergency shelter smack in the middle of their havens is not a good arrangement for anybody. People who live in the havens that are trying to get help or move out or move beyond. And so it's just not a good environment for anybody to be. If you look at this area, we're talking about a concentration of hundreds and hundreds of formerly chronic homeless and chronically homeless. The density is just too great. So if we can continue to do the work needed to move House of Charity out, that's definitely something that Catholic Charities wants to do. Where you put it is probably the biggest challenge, and they have a lot of things that they want to check off on their list of things that they need for location and size and amenities and things like that. But we're still working on that because I do believe that that would make a big improvement in the environment, but we still have work to do.
Just to clarify on there, there's not a specific timeline on when we could expect that to be moved out of here?
No, we were looking at properties west of the city, but when the commerce money, the right-of-way initiative money to address Camp Hope was used to buy the hotel on the top of Sunset Hill, and it became Catalyst. We were not going to move a lot of services and out of downtown and continue to move it west. We weren't going to deconcentrate downtown and concentrate another neighborhood. I think we have to be very intentional about we offer services, because best practices back in the day was put them all in one area so there was access for everybody who needed the help. But now we're learning best practices say don't concentrate all of those services together, because the impact on the businesses and the people who want to use downtown and work downtown is too great.
Excuse me, Mayor. Amanda Rowley with Prem 2. Maybe for Chief. Who makes up the task force? Is there representation of the homeless community on that task force, and who are they?
Are you talking about the regional task force?
Yes, for this project here in the area.
No, that may have been confusing. So if you recall, we recently separated from Safe Street Task Force and created a regional task force with the Sheriff's Office in Spokane Valley. So that's the task force I was discussing.
Are there, on that task force then, is there representation for the homeless population?
Nope, this is strictly a law enforcement task force with the goal of going out and dealing with what you would call street crimes. It could be anything from mid to high level drug dealers, gang members, crimes of violence, human trafficking. So that's what we're focused on. So one of the things we've learned is that a lot of our criminals don't stop at the borders. So a lot of the people who are victimizing Spokane Valley are victimizing the city of Spokane or victimizing the county. So this task force is focused on trying to deal with who are creating the biggest issues in our region, and the boundaries shouldn't matter.
Question for the mayor. I was curious, with round-the-clock overtime police coverage, how is that going to affect the city budget with the overtime levels currently looking at?
Well, overtime is an issue. Overtime has been a concern for quite a while, but this is a priority. Public safety is a priority. We will find a way to be able to pay for the overtime that we are accumulating to be able to concentrate public safety efforts in this area.
Mayor, what is the long-term solution? We're hearing that people are getting arrested, can't be booked. We're hearing that people who are contacted aren't taking services. We do have an overtime budget strain. What is the long-term solution? How do we solve this?
Well, public safety is the number one priority. That has to, no matter what other challenges we're facing, public safety has to be the number one priority. And we will find a way to address the other challenges. We are now, we just swore in laterals, half a dozen laterals into our police department this week. We are almost at as close to being fully staffed as a department than we ever have in years. And part of the reason is because our police officers, for the first time in many, many years, are working under a current contract, which helps with retention and recruitment. We need more officers. We definitely need more officers. We need more space in a criminal justice center. We need more programs for people who are incarcerated to rehabilitate them while they're in jail or in a criminal justice center and get them rehabilitated before they're released so they can be productive members of society again. We have to do a better job of rehabilitating people, but as we're doing that, we have to keep our city safe.
Okay, we have time for about one more, if everybody's
Nope.
Any questions related to our topic today? Okay, thank you. Are you a media member?
Yes, with the
Robert. You're not a media member. Come on. I'd be happy to take a call from you.
Spokane Homeless Coalition.
Thank you very much for coming, everybody.
We can have a phone call. You got our number. Give us a call.
Invited you to the October 5th. You declined.
I have another event. I had very little notice. Maybe we can make another arrangement. Okay?
Thanks, everybody.
Jake,